it's just being physical. We just have to be physical.
Bringing energy off the bench, providing scoring, toughness, rebounding, things like that.
It's gonna come down to who's gonna bang, fight through screens, stop guys from getting offensive rebounds.
Bring some swag, bring some energy to the game, doing what I've been doing.
It's gonna be the stuff that doesn't show up on stat sheets. It's gonna win the series.
Obviously, these two teams are familiar with one another. Everybody is locked in, one day at a time, one game at a time. I give my all every time I'm out there.
Who's gonna get in there and be physical? That's gonna be the series.
Hey PJ, I'm sure you all are kind of in deep when it comes to preparation, X's and O's in both offense and defense, but how important do you think just grit and kind of that dog mentality will be with this series?
That's gonna be the series. It's gonna come down to, who's gonna bang, who's gonna get in there and be physical, fight through screens, be able to redirect screens, be able to, stop guys from getting offensive rebounds. It's gonna be the stuff that doesn't show up on stat sheets. It's gonna win the series, and that's what we're gonna have to focus on.
And something on the side I've been meaning to ask you, I noticed you changed shoes. Do you break those shoes in prior, or are you just like taking a fresh pair for the second half that you haven't worn before?
It is no like rhyme or reason. I'm like superstitious about my shoes, so there's no telling. Like in my mind, it'll be something, and I won't say nothing. I just like have to change, and it doesn't matter if they're broken in or not. It's like I don't know.
Got it. Just wondering if you were breaking them in or not.
No, most times not.
Eric Name.
Hey, PJ. I asked Drew about this the other day. Both of you guys have spent most of your time in the West, and Jimmy has spent most of his time in the East. So this isn't like a situation where you guys have seen each other a lot, but just from your limited experience with Jimmy, kind of what are the things that you're keeping in mind as you're trying to go head to head with him and cover him?
I actually played Jimmy in Western Conference first round 2 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, so I had some experience guarding playing against him. Jimmy's just a competitor. He wants to win. So it doesn't matter how much he scores, how many rebounds he gets. He doesn't care about his stats. So he's gonna do whatever it takes for that team to win. He's gonna make sure all those guys get their shots. Make sure they're held accountable on defense. Like he really is the head of the spear for that team. So we're just gonna have to match his intensity, be smart. Have him in the positions we want him on the floor with certain people guarding and everybody being able to stay home on all their shooters. And it's just being physical. We just have to be physical.
With the Heat, I think they probably cut more than just about anybody else. Like their offense is just kind of right.
Yeah.
For you, like, just what kind of challenge does that present? And then, like, what is so like hard about it? Like the idea that they're always moving and they're always kind of cutting you around.
Because you have to always move and you have to always cut with them. All the guys on their team can shoot, and you have to reposition yourself to be in help, but also have to be able to make sure you can chase and navigate and get through screens. And you really have to use your brain, because if not, a lot of times you'll get stuck. In help position. Next thing you know, they're great passes, ball's over, your man shooting a three. So it's really being physical, it's getting through the screens. And if everybody's doing it, then we can navigate screens and everybody can stay home with theirs. But it's a lot easier said than done. So something we've been working at all week and we'll continue to work at.
You said more easier said than done. Talking feels like a big part against them. Just how do you guys kind of up that level of talking and making sure you're communicating?
We got a lot of guys. We got a few guys that talk a lot. We got some guys that don't say anything. So that's something we learn. I'm continuously learning as I've been here in my short time. But it's just figuring it out. Even guys that don't talk, figuring out ways that we can get through that and figure out how to communicate in another way. And it's been something that we've figured out, but it's something that you got to continuously get better at, because that never stops. Like that with a team like Miami, you got to do that every single possession.
Jim Ozarski.
Hey, PJ. Drew said something interesting the other day where he said, regarding all the switching and the zones and the different defenses, he's like, now that we have a chance to kind of lock in on one opponent, that could lead to some good things. I was just curious your point of view on that, on just the series aspect of this, and like what that could mean for you guys defensively as you try to, whether it's throwing out these different things at times or having Bud call a thing and you can jump right into it. You know what I mean? Like how important or what kind of benefit is there in just being able to focus on one team as opposed to playing 5 different teams in 7 days during the season?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's that's what the playoffs is just being able to lock in on one team. But that presents other challenges as well, because on the flip side, they get to do the same thing to you. So that it's a two-way street. But with Coach Bud, there's no telling. I don't know. You never know. Even us as the players, we don't know what he's going to want to do, how he's going to switch it. We may come in tomorrow and he may come up with a whole new game plan. We never know. Like, you just don't know. So, but the good thing with our team is we got so many versatile guys, and we can be able to do so many different things, and that's what makes his job tough, because he has decisions to make, because we can pretty much do every single coverage.
Thank you.
Malika Andrews.
PJ, following up on Eric's question about being vocal, I mean, Giannis has talked about that's something he's worked on over the years, is becoming a louder leader. Chris Middleton said that's not really his strong suit. Drew is a little bit more of a quiet guy. So for you personally, how do you task yourself with setting that tone? Because that's kind of a little bit of who you are.
Right. That's something I've, even in practice every day, I'm even times where I may not talk, I over talk all the time. Giannis doesn't really talk much. Chris doesn't talk much. Dante's gotten better, but he's not a big talker. Pat talks. So a lot of times I'm out there, Bobby doesn't talk. So I have to talk for other people. Sometimes I won't even be in the position, but I'll call out coverage or say something when 2 other guys are in the positions, just so they can, you know what I'm saying? So like that, but that's a part of my role and what I do. So over talking is maybe a little bit harder, because I'm just always talking and people probably get tired of my voice, but it's something that we just always do, because it helps so much more once action starts happening, when you're having that communication. And it's tough when you're tired and you're running a break a few times and the play's coming at you quick, but it's something that if you want to win, you have to do.
Thank you.
Chancellor Johnson.
Hey, PJ, we were just talking to Bobby, who I think is shooting around 47% from 3. That's a pretty big jump from what he was shooting last year. Somebody who's been around the league for a long time and seen his game, have you seen him grow shooting-wise in that aspect of his game?
He's gotten a lot better, and Bobby can really shoot the ball. He takes time to work on his game every day, gets a lot of shots up. In my short time being here, he's just, when he locks in games, he's just instant offense off the bench, and they look for him for that. So, but that's the thing, being in this league, being able to stretch the floor, being especially playing the center, being a stretch center, that's a huge benefit. So, he's just gotten better.
Steve McGargy.
Okay. I was just wondering, you came to Milwaukee around the same time Miami acquired Trevor Ariza, 2 kind of playoff savvy veterans. I'm just wondering, first, just how much that playoff experience, how much of a difference that can make when you've had as many playoff games under your belt as you've had, and also just what your impressions of Trevor are from a perspective of former teammate, as well as having played against him quite a bit.
Trevor's my brother. He's one of my best friends in the league, and outside the league. He's my brother, so he's similar but a little different. He's just a tough, savvy player. Knock down threes, guard off oppositions. He's just gonna get out there and defend, fight. He's smart, knows how to play, and that's something that any playoff team, any winning team is gonna want. In the sense he can kind of cover a lot of holes in different teams, and when you get different lineups, you can be able to put him pretty much anywhere in different lineups for matchup sake. So, but he's somebody that's valuable to any winning team for sure.
Tim Bontemps.
Hey, PJ. As a guy who's been around the league for a long time and obviously has been on a lot of successful teams, this Bucks team is trying to break through, get through the finals, win a title after falling short the last couple of years. I was curious, as a outside observer the last couple of years, what do you think has kept this team from getting quite where it wants to, and why do you think this year will be different?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. We've been watching games in the past. I don't know if I have the answer. I'm not the, that's not really my job. All I know is what's different this year is not just me being here, but we have a lot of different other pieces that are here to be able to help in different areas where they've struggled in the past. I think the experiences they have went through, for all the guys prior to, even the coaching staff, like everybody went through it. I think they've even grown from, the past 2 years, especially in opportunities they've had. And I think everybody coming with those different experiences is what makes this team different. Me coming with my experience, me watching from the outside looking in, trying to fill in, different spots of what I think that I can bring and help out this team. I think everybody just kind of bringing that all together is what's, at the end of the day, going to make this team different.
In terms of the new pieces, are there a couple specific things that you think, whether it's you or other guys, you think that you'll be able to shore up that were weaknesses that you think were in the past with this group?
As guys that are on the team or guys that are not
Yeah,
here?
you just said that with some of the new guys that are there, whether it's you or other players.
I mean, adding Drew Holiday doesn't hurt your team.
Right.
I mean, like this, like pretty simple stuff. Like you get Drew Holiday, I don't think your team's worse. That's just that one. Let's just say that one.
Sure, that works. Thanks, PJ.
Yeah.
Stephen Watson.
Hey, PJ. Zora kind of sparked my interest on this, so I wanted to ask you a shoes question. How do you go about picking your shoes for a game, and do you lay out your playoff shoes?
No, I just have all my shoes, and I just pick that day when I wake up and I get ready to go to the game. I just walk in the shoe room and just pick which ones I feel like that day.
What does that shoe room look like in Milwaukee?
It's my house in Milwaukee is a wreck. It's so it's not big, so it's just stuff everywhere and shoes everywhere. I'd never let anybody in there. I'd be embarrassed.
All right, back to Zora for one more.
I'm just wondering where your friendship with Trevor Ariza started, how it started, and what's the history there?
I've known Trevor for a very long time. And then once we got together, he was a part of, Chris, James, everybody that recruited me to come in free agency to Houston. Just all our relationships. And then it just built, playing together even more, just being around each other. Like our families are close. That's my brother.
All right, great. Thanks, PJ. Appreciate it.
Been communicated to you, the sort of doing the dirty things, providing that sort of spark off the bench. What's needed from you in the playoffs and fulfilling that kind of grit and grime role?
Just coming in, playing, being who I am, who I was all season, bringing energy off the bench, providing scoring, toughness, rebounding, things like that. Just being myself when the shot's available, shoot it with confidence. Just come in, just try to bring some swag, bring some energy to the game, doing what I've been doing the entire year. It's fun playing with unselfish guys, man. We know that Miami's probably going to build a wall against Giannis, so having those opportunities to knock the shots down, open up lanes for him, it's going to be pretty fun.
You weren't in the bubble last year, if I remember correctly. Did you watch that series from the outside?
Yeah, for sure. When you're a basketball fanatic, you kind of watch every game that's available for you to watch. Watched all of them, and obviously, the Bucks lost that series, but it was a hard fought battle. Obviously, there's still a bad taste in their mouths from it last year. Obviously, it should be, but last year's last year. It's a new team, new environment, new system. So it should be fun playing against these guys in this series.
Thanks, Bobby.
No problem.
Eric Name.
What was the setup like? Like, where were you watching games? Like, is it getting shots up in the gym and then going over and watching a little bit of the game? Like, how were you doing that?
It was kind of weird actually, because most of the time the playoffs is in late April, May, then early June is over. The playoffs went all the way to September, so it was like I was training a little bit. I was working out. I would go home at nighttime. Would catch the finals games when the Heat and the Lakers played at nighttime. Would always catch those and things like that. And throughout the first and second and, Eastern Conference Finals, Western Conference Final rounds, I would catch those games as well. It was fun. I would work out in the morning time, play pickup or whatever it was. and then have the rest of the day to myself to watch the game at 7 o'clock. It's always a fun time around this time. I think that's when everybody gets serious, and that's when everybody around the world is really watching.
What is it like for you? Like, we talked all year, like, this is what you want to be a part of. This is why you came to Milwaukee. This is what you want to be in.
Yep.
What's it like to be in it now? I know a game hasn't been played, but I do know that the level of preparation goes up a whole nother level.
For sure. Just being on the team, a veteran-led team that's been to the playoffs a lot, had success a little bit, had some failures as well, that's hungry, that wants to be great, wants to thrive and strive for a championship. It's good. Having to lock in every day, every attention to detail really matters to the coaches. They break down film really well to help you get prepared for the game. Just all those little things. It's a lot different than playing on a team that's going home at the end of the season after 82 or 72 games this year. So just the mental preparation. I think that's the biggest thing that I could take from being on a team like this. Staying locked in, knowing your role and going out there and doing the best you can in that role.
Do you notice any difference in Giannis or Chris or Drew or like the leaders of this team? Like, do you notice a difference in them this time of year?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, you could tell when they do the interviews. You could tell how locked in they are in practice. How attention to detail. When coach says something, they try to do it to the best of their abilities. I think it's fun playing with guys like that. That's locked in, that want to be good, that want to be great. It just makes all the players around them try to be as best as they can in their roles as well. I know with me, I know just being around them has motivated me to help change my body and things like that, and just trying to stay locked in on a 24/7 basis.
Steve McGarkey.
You said last year's last year, but I'm just wondering how often in the last week has that series from last year come up with some of the guys who were in that series?
Kind of, sort of, but not much. Obviously these two teams are familiar with one another, and I think everybody is locked in on them. I think everybody wants to, really, just stay locked in on this series, one day at a time, one game at a time, knowing that, things can happen fast, man. One made shot or one, missed turnover can, change the whole dynamic of a series. So just staying locked in every day, knowing the bigger picture, and everybody playing their role. That's the biggest focus right now. Is just trying to stay locked in on an everyday basis.
And I know you talked about what it's like playing for a winning team. I think this is like just your second trip to the playoffs. Just how much you can savor this opportunity, knowing this isn't necessarily something that comes every year.
Man, cherish it, man. 6 years, second time in the playoffs. Missed the playoffs 3 straight years. Was on some tanking teams that wanted higher draft picks and things like that. So being able to have opportunity to be on a winning basketball team with a great culture around here that everybody's on one accord, from the trainers, from the media guys, from the coaches to the players. Everybody's on one accord. Everybody's on one string. So being in a winning environment like this that has championship aspirations has been great for me as a player. Makes me want to be better every day. Makes me want to come in, and makes it easier to come to work every day when you're fighting towards something. So being able to come to the playoffs this year and being able to compete at the highest level of basketball is a blessing, man. Being able to work as hard as I can, not making the playoffs last year and having to sit at home for 10 months for my next season to start, not knowing what's going to be next. It's all a blessing, and I cherish every moment of it, and I give my all every time I'm out there.
Zora Stevenson.
Well, Bobby, you talked about the fact that you didn't play in a basketball game for hundreds of days, so I'm sure 5 days is nothing.
Yeah.
But what do you feel about just this week off, considering you haven't had any time like this entire season? How do you approach it?
It's great, man. I think from played December 23rd, and then we played on Christmas, and so being able to play almost every other day for 5-6 months straight. It's pretty tough, but at the same time, it's our job, and being able to have almost a week off is just good to rest our bodies, clean up some things on the offensive side and defensive side that coach wants to do, go over some game plans, this like that, and just get some reps up, get some extra shots up. Sometimes it's harder to do that when you're playing every other day than you might play 6 games in 8 days or whatever it is. So being able to have some time off has been great for me personally. Being able to being around my family a lot more, see them some before the playoffs start, and stay locked in once the playoffs come.
And will the Bobby Portis home game shooting routine after games continue in the playoffs, or what happens to that?
Yeah, that's just a routine at home. I want to keep that going. Just focus on the game first, and then, after the game, get some shots up with the rooks. It's kind of cool that the rooks is doing it too, knowing that, their bigger picture. Obviously, in year one, it's always tough for a rookie, but just to see them work as hard as they can and, stay focused and stay locked in, I like that a lot about them.
Thanks.
Chancellor Johnson.
Hey, Bobby, speaking of shooting, I saw a recent post that you worked with Lethal Shooter over the offseason. What do you remember about working with him, and how did he help improve your jump shot?
He's great. We work out a lot. We work out during the season, off season, just trying to stay locked in. That's his biggest thing. It's just zenning out, being in that zone where nothing can faze you, nothing what nobody's saying to you or none of that. Just being in your mode and shooting the shots available to you, knowing what's a good shot, what's a bad shot, and things like that, and finding the seams on the balls and things like that. He's helped me tremendously. He's more like a brother now to me. We can talk about anything, just anything I need advice on about how I'm shooting the ball or whatever it is. Man, he's a great teacher. I think he's very, very underrated, and I think a lot of guys need to look into him. He's helped me tremendously for sure, and he's like a brother to me.
And how important will it be for you to continue to stretch the floor over this series?
I think it's important for all of us to knock down shots, to open up lanes for Giannis. We watch film a lot, and those guys do build a wall. When you're playing against it, it's kind of hard to see it, but when you're watching on film, that wall is real. They build it with 3 guys, and it's important for all of us when we have the opportunity to shoot the basketball when we're open, to shoot it with confidence. That might be the best shot we get in that possession. So just being able to get those opportunities and those looks is going to be big for all of us to take them and shoot them with confidence, not just myself, but everybody.
Ira Winderman.
Bobby, you spent a couple of seasons with Jimmy in Chicago. There was that tumultuous season in 16-17 where it was sort of young guys and old guys in an uneven mix there. Did you sort of see Jimmy as a guy who needed to get his own space and sort of find his own way? And I'm just curious, when you watched last year's playoffs, did you sort of see Jimmy maybe having finally found his place and his niche and his right team?
I think Jimmy was always going to be a good player. When I was in Chicago, obviously we did have a lot of, we had the Rondo and the Wade and Jimmy mix with Taj. And then we had the younger guy. We had like 8 young guys too. So, the mix, like you said, wasn't, picture perfect, but all teams aren't going to be perfect. But we still made the playoffs that year. I still feel as though if Rondo don't get hurt, we advance to the second round. We play against the Wizards in the second round. So we lost that series, but Jimmy's always been a highly competitive player. Even in practice, he would push guys and, make guys, work hard and, he shows his leadership qualities, not just talking, but with his work too. He's a very, very hard worker. He goes to the gym at nighttime. When I used to go, he'll be in there with his trainer. So being around a guy like that, kind of helped me a lot as well. And to answer your question, I think he's always, the Bulls just picked, the coach over him or whatever it was. But he would have thrived anywhere. When you have heart like that and a competitive spirit. They do all these tests in the draft, how high you can jump and this and that, but you can't test nobody's heart. And that's one thing he has. He has a lot of heart and he has a lot of dog in him. You can't test it. You can't measure it.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right, one more to Stephen Watson.
Hey, Bobby, you spoke highly about the Bucks culture, and I know that when you signed with the Bucks, you wanted to win. But is there anything in particular about the culture that has surprised you in a positive way? And with so many new guys that are joining this team at the same time, is that something you guys talk about, just how rare a positive culture like that is in the NBA?
No, we don't really talk about it a lot, but I've been on a lot of teams where, some guys didn't like each other, or that, some guys was hating on this guy and things like that. I've been on a lot of teams like that. That happens around the NBA. Some players play the same position, and some guys, mad that he's playing over them. That happens around this league. But this team, everybody cheers for one another. Everybody loves everybody's success. When a guy makes a shot, we all cheer. We're all happy that guy made that shot because we see how much, work he puts in. So the culture around here is great, man. It just makes it easier to come, every day. Guys trust one another to shoot the basketball. When a guy's down, his brother always tries to pick him up. So being around this team, I think they've done a great job over the years building their culture. And I'm just happy to be a part of it.
All right, great. Thanks, Bobby.
No
Appreciate
problem.
the time.
Thank you.